What if I told you that the reason you feel so ambitious, yet so stuck, has nothing to do with laziness? What if the feeling of being trapped by the same old habits, the same lazy days, and the same disappointments is a sign of a hidden war within your mind? We've all felt it. We see someone online or in our own lives absolutely crushing it, and we think, I have just as many ideas, maybe even more ambition. We daydream, we plan, we tell ourselves this week will be different. But when it's time to act, something invisible holds us back. Society calls it laziness, and you've probably called yourself that 100 times. But Carl Jung would say that laziness isn't a personality defect or even about being tired. It's a mask. It's a word we use to describe a much deeper, hidden war inside your mind. Most people never look past the surface. They believe they just need more discipline or a better morning routine. That's why you can watch productivity videos for hours and still not get off the couch. The world calls it a lack of willpower, but Jung calls it something else entirely. Jung's entire career was dedicated to one thing: uncovering the parts of us we refuse to face. He called it the shadow, the hidden self living under the surface. The shadow isn't evil, but it is cunning. It holds all the fears, doubts, bad memories, and insecurities you try to ignore. And here's the mind-bending part. The bigger your ambition, the bigger your shadow grows. Why? Because every goal you set and every risk you take threatens the shadow. Its job is to keep you safe, small, and comfortable. So when you start to dream big, the shadow goes to work. Suddenly you feel tired, distracted, and unsure. Every action feels twice as heavy, and your brain invents clever reasons to delay, rest, or avoid. This isn't weakness. It's a psychological defense system. Your ambition and your shadow are in a tug of war, and until you see what's happening, you will always lose. You might think motivation is the answer, that watching a few hyped-up talks will give you the adrenaline rush you need to start. But motivation is just fuel for the shadow's fire if you don't know what's holding you back. Jung believed you cannot out-hustle the parts of yourself you refuse to see. The more you hype yourself up without addressing the real resistance, the more frustrated you become when it all falls apart again. The shadow feeds on disappointment, whispering, "See, I told you it wouldn't work." Every time you fail, let's map out the pattern everyone misses. You get inspired, set a big goal, and at first you're on fire. But then, doubt creeps in, distractions multiply, and you start making deals with yourself, saying, "I'll start after I get more rest," or "after things settle down." Suddenly, weeks and months have passed, your motivation is gone, and you feel like a failure, starting the cycle all over again. The real secret isn't a lack of motivation, talent, or opportunity. It's a lack of honest confrontation with the part of you that's terrified of what might happen if you actually changed. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." How many times have you said, "That's just the way I am," or "I always mess things up"? That's your shadow writing the script for your life, and you're calling it fate. But fate is not final. It's just the name we give to patterns we don't understand. Most people never ask themselves this question. If you are ambitious but never move, what are you truly scared of? Is it failure, or is it the changes that success will bring? Is it being judged or standing out, or the pressure that comes when people expect more from you? The shadow isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you from pain, embarrassment, and disappointment. But it doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined risk. Every time you listen to that hidden fear, you shrink a little, and the shadow gets a little stronger. If you stay with me for all 3 parts of this video, you'll get Jung's map for making the unconscious conscious. You'll get the exact blueprint for turning your ambition into action, no matter how many times you've failed before. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how to uncover your own shadow and what happens when you stop fighting yourself and start working with your hidden mind instead. You've probably blamed yourself for failing before, maybe calling it laziness, a lack of discipline, or even bad genetics. But the truth is, most people have never learned the real source of their resistance. Carl Jung would tell you that what you call your life is mostly the sum of your unconscious habits, with your shadow running the show behind the scenes. It's not about weakness. It's about old survival patterns, memories, and beliefs so deep you don't even know they're there. This is why change feels so heavy. You're not just fighting a habit. You're challenging an invisible force that has kept you safe and comfortable since childhood. If you want to do more than just try harder, you must do what almost no one dares. Face your shadow directly. Think back to the last time you truly wanted to change, whether it was getting healthy, starting a business, or learning a new skill. Did you notice how quickly your mind invented urgent distractions? Suddenly, cleaning your room, scrolling on your phone, or talking about your goals became more important than acting on them. This isn't random. It's your shadow defending its territory because every real change is a threat to your comfort zone. Your shadow will fight, distract, and even punish you with anxiety, guilt, or shame. Anything to stop you from taking a risk. Jung saw this repeatedly in his patients. People with grand ambitions who were secretly terrified of failure, judgment, or just the unknown, so they self-sabotaged and called it fate. Here's the paradox almost nobody talks about. Every stuck habit gives you something in return, even if it's just temporary relief. Staying in bed means you don't have to face the world's expectations. Not starting that project means you never have to risk failing. Not asking for what you want means you never get rejected. Your shadow offers the illusion of safety, whispering, "You'll change tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes until you name what you're getting from your old patterns. That's why Jung believed in radical self-honesty, even when it hurts. Most people never slow down enough to listen to what their resistance is really saying. Jung taught that if you want to change, you need to bring the shadow out of hiding, not by force, but by conversation. Try this tonight. Sit somewhere quiet and imagine you're talking to the part of you that always finds reasons not to start. Ask it, "What are you afraid will happen if I succeed?" Let the answer come, even if it sounds silly, angry, or irrational. Often, the shadow will reveal old wounds, moments where you were laughed at or criticized. Sometimes it's a fear of success and the new responsibilities it brings. Other times, it's the fear that if you finally go after what you want, you'll lose the people who only love the old you. This isn't weakness. It's old pain dressed up as procrastination or fatigue. But once you hear the story, you can begin to change it. Most people try to shame themselves into action with guilt and self-criticism, and Jung believed this always fails because you cannot hate your way into growth. Instead, he taught self-acceptance, not of failure forever, but of the fact that your mind is trying to protect you, even when it gets in your way. When you accept your shadow and bring your fear, laziness, or self-doubt into the light, it loses its power to control you from the dark. You're no longer wasting energy on self-blame, and you're free to use that energy for something new. You don't have to win the war in a single day. Jung knew that real change begins with the tiniest, most honest step. If you feel stuck, don't set impossible goals. Instead, do one small thing. Send an email, take a walk, or speak your truth to one person. Then, notice how your shadow reacts. Does it resist? Does it try to bargain or get louder? Don't fight it. Just notice. With every honest step, your shadow's grip loosens a little more. The people who keep going, who stay honest, and who take small, real actions are the ones who finally break free. This is the part of the journey where most people turn back. It's uncomfortable and feels slow, but the full reward is at the end. You'll get the blueprint to make real change no matter how many times you've failed before. The final part will show you how to turn your new self-awareness into unstoppable momentum. You'll get the step-by-step method Jung would give to anyone desperate for change. You've made it further than most. By now, you've faced the hidden forces that keep you stuck, seen how the shadow turns ambition into resistance, and learned the power of honest conversation with yourself. But most people get this far and still turn back. Why? Because insight isn't the same as transformation. They understand their patterns but never turn awareness into action. Jung saw that self-knowledge is powerful, but useless unless it becomes movement. If you're still here, you're ready for the real reward. The exact steps to finally break the cycle and outsmart your shadow. You don't need another motivational speech. You need a new relationship with your own mind. Jung discovered that the only way to change a pattern in your shadow is to bring it into the light over and over with actions so small the shadow can't fight back. Your shadow is always looking for a reason to say, "See, you failed again." So, don't try to prove yourself with a massive overhaul. Instead, prove you can take the smallest step every day, even when it feels pointless. Decide on a single action that moves you closer to what you want. A 5-minute walk, a short paragraph, one email, or a single honest conversation. Repeat this each day, even if your mind says it's not enough. The power isn't in the size of the step, but in breaking the spell of inaction. With every small win, the shadow's voice gets quieter. Jung taught that radical self-awareness is the engine of transformation. So, start tracking your journey, not for perfection but for honesty. Every evening, ask yourself, did I take my small action today? What resistance did I feel? Did my shadow try to bargain, distract, or discourage me? Write it down, even if it's just a sentence. This process keeps you honest and lets you watch your shadow in real time. Remember, what gets tracked gets transformed. One of the biggest lies ambition tells you is that you must do it all alone. But Jung knew that real change happens in community, not in isolation. Find one person you trust or even a group online and share what you're working on, even if it feels small or embarrassing. The act of speaking your truth out loud destroys the shadow's power. Suddenly, what once felt like shame turns into connection, and you'll feel less alone. This is how your ambition becomes real. Not just a fantasy in your head, but a living process in the world. The shadow is persistent, and some days you'll feel all the old resistance return. Fatigue, excuses, and old habits calling your name. But what separates those who change from those who quit is that they expect setbacks but never let them be the end. Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." So if you miss a day, don't spiral into guilt. Recognize the shadow, forgive yourself, and start again. Every time you return to your intention, you chip away at the old pattern. The people who keep going, even imperfectly, always outlast those who demand perfection from themselves. Here is your reward. The blueprint, real, practical, and proven by Jung's deepest work. Name your shadow. Write down what your laziness is truly protecting you from. Don't judge it. Just see it. Choose a small daily action. Not a huge leap, but just one thing that moves you forward. Track your progress honestly. Every evening, note your action and the resistance you felt. Share your truth with someone you trust or in a safe community. Expect setbacks, but return. When you fail, start again. Never let shame have the last word. Do this for 3 weeks and watch what happens. You'll notice the shadow losing its grip, your lazy days getting rarer, and your confidence growing not from hype, but from quiet self-trust. This isn't theory. It's how real people with real struggles change their lives. Most people will never finish this journey. They'll watch half a video, save another tip, and keep waiting for a magical moment that never comes. But you, if you've stayed with me to the end, have already proven that you want the truth more than comfort. Carl Jung believed that those who dare to face themselves become the rarest and most powerful kind of person. They stop living someone else's script and start writing their own. The world needs more people like that. It needs you awake, honest, and moving forward. If this series resonated with you, here's your final challenge. Share in the comments what your shadow has been telling you, or what small action you'll take today. Support someone else who's doing the same. Let's create a space where honesty is celebrated and transformation is possible. If you want more deep dive videos that go beyond the hype and give you real tools, hit subscribe and join this journey for real. Your new story starts now.